Hey everybody, it's Yasmin here. How you going? So, well, I just caught the last few minutes of a broadcast by my teacher in India, Sri Shakti Narayani Amma. And I have to say, actually, an amazing thing happened today because last month, as some of you know, because I think, well, actually in August, September, Amma was doing these chants for the coronavirus, and Amma's based in India where the coronavirus has obviously been completely out of control. And I just got this report now to say that, I was on like the BBC or something, saying that basically the coronavirus peaked and started going down in India in September, which was just when the chanting in India finished. And I just couldn't help but notice, because I knew that my teacher Amma was doing this chanting to the goddess Kali for the coronavirus, and I was wondering how it would go. And there you go, that's how it went. The coronavirus started going down basically after I think it was 40 days of chanting, something like that. So there you go. Is it related? Who knows? Who knows? So I'm actually here because I'm going to be doing my radio show in a minute. So if you would like to call in, I would love to speak to you. I'm just going to get, someone just said, hello, beautiful souls, Betty Ann Romano. That is just like so true. I mean, I think pretty much every single person who is a part of my gang, so to speak, is beautiful. You guys are amazing. You inspire me every day. And I keep saying to people more and more and more and more and more and more and more, you know, all this stuff I do, like these Facebook Lives that I do, or like this radio show that I do, you know, that I kind of feel like I do for you because I want to help. Actually, it helps me. And to me, that's just like the absolute classic karma. You know, that is karma, innit, mate. That's karma when you do something for someone else and actually it benefits you. And at the risk of inciting people into arguing about masks, please don't mention masks in the comments. I will say one thing. Regardless of if you wear masks or you don't wear masks, you know, we were all taught initially, well, you should wear masks to protect other people. And now it seems that in fact by wearing a mask you protect yourself, because it means that if you do get a little bit of the virus blowing over you, you get less, and you get just enough to trigger immunity but not enough to make you sick. To me, that is also karma. Like all those people who wore masks, oh thank you Gina, all those people who wore masks and thought they were doing it for other people, well, guess what? You got the good karma by the sounds of it. Hopefully, we're all going to the second wave. Everyone's wondering if there's going to be a second wave. Oh, here comes Unity Radio, they're calling me. Hi, Louis.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. All ready. Ready to go.
So we got a whole 3.5 minutes before
3.5 minutes. Okay, fantastic. All right, well, I'm here and ready. May I have the music or the sound or whatever, the show?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
The voice of an awakening world.
The voice of an awakening world.
Here's Reverend Paul Hasselbeck with a Unity Teachable Moment.
Thanks, Betty
Taken
Ann.
from a talk at Unity on the River
So,
in Amesbury, Massachusetts.
I'm going to be doing my show. I'm going to be asking people to call in. I'm going to be doing the cards. I'm going to be talking about the astrology of the week ahead. So, hang around.
Grace is something we offer each other.
So it's Unity Radio. It's actually like Unity Church, which I don't know that much about, to be honest. But I've always felt a strong affinity with Charles Fillmore, who wrote The Formula for Forgiveness, which I use in my work.
We turn down our love, don't we?
Alicia Ann, how about a card? Okay, Alicia. This is for
That's
you.
the very moment we should turn
Card
up
just for Alicia Ann.
our arms and offer them grace.
And card for...
Yeah. And while
There you go,
we're at it,
Alicia Ann. What do
we
you
have
need
grace
to
for
release? What do you need to
be a little
release?
easier on ourselves
Waning
and
moon.
not wait for something external to offer us grace, but to love lavishly.
Love lavishly. Why wouldn't you?
To find more from Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, visit the radio archives at unityonlineradio.org.
Alicia Ann, releasing emotional baggage is recommended now.
Unity Online Radio brings you the best spiritual podcasts on demand. Check out shows featuring
Hi, Lorna
conversations
Jane.
with today's thought leaders, healers, activists, and teachers whose spiritual wisdom is shaping our world. Just click on the shows tab.
You know what? I'm going to start the show with a bit of chanting,
and click
frankly.
On demand. You can listen to any show or subscribe to the podcast. Whether you are a Unity student, spiritual but not religious, or merely exploring, we hope you will find something to inspire you.
About another
so alone and
minute.
overwhelmed, you don't know where to turn.
Hello,
These days,
Priscilla.
It feels like there is no end to our problems. We invite you to connect with
Hi,
Silent Unity,
Cynthia.
a 24-hour
Tells me who's
prayer
logging
ministry
on. I
where
can see
someone
everybody as they log in.
right now. Since 1890,
Hello, Charis and
Silent Unity has
Doran.
always been there. No judgment
Tell me
or
where you
dogma.
are. I love knowing where people are. I'm in London.
Call
See if we've got my
816-969-2000
moon thing up properly. My
You can also
husband did it
connect
for me.
online
Yay,
at
thank you.
unityprayervigil.org.
Oh, thank you for the stars, Lorna Jane.
Do you
That's very
dread
nice of
going
you.
to work every day and just pray for Friday? Get a
Hi,
fresh
Aoife.
perspective on your career with Mo Fall and bring your soul to work every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, here on
Carolyn,
UnityOnlineRadio.org.
Charlotte,
A leadership mentor and
Cheryl
career
is
coach
in
who can help you grow
California.
unappreciated to loving your life and career again. Join the show and let
Lindsay
Mo guide
in
you
Cheshire.
into
Hi,
real life
Lindsay.
changes.
Amsterdam.
Tune in every Thursday
1 minute
here
now,
on
guys.
UnityOnlineRadio.org.
Less than that, actually.
Call now with your
Here we
question or
go. Here we go.
comment.
Call in. Call in.
3555. That's 816
Yeah, here we go. We're on. We're live. I'll give you the number in a minute. Call in.
Get in tune with the sun, moon, and stars. This is Astrology with Yasmin.
Well, hello, everybody. I have to say that music always puts a smile on my face. I actually really like it. It makes me feel cheery. I actually, I like to be honest. I've been feeling a bit today. In fact, no reason. Everything's great, thank God. And I should be counting my blessings more than I have been today. But I'm going to blame the Saturn square that we just had. We just had a nasty Sun-Saturn square. And, it just wasn't very nice. Didn't make me feel very good. How about you? Anyway, today we had a Jupiter-Mars square in the wee small hours of this morning, English time. So that was like about, 6-8 hours ago, wherever you are in the world. And, the good news is that now that we're through the new moon square Saturn, the sun square Saturn, Mars square Jupiter, we're actually going to have a nicer time. Yay! Who's happy about that? Me. I most certainly am. So my name is Yasmin Boland. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an astrologer and a moonologer. And I'm currently broadcasting live on unityonlineradio.com, unityonlineradio.com. And I'm also going live on Facebook. I just saw my lovely husband has joined. Hello, my darling. I was just explaining why I've been down in the dumps, darling. It was the Sun-Saturn square. Yeah, so I've just been like... it's also that we've gone into tier 2 lockdown here in the UK, and I shouldn't complain. Everything's fine. I've got no reason to worry about that. But oh my God, I want to see my friends. I miss my friends. You know, I really do. Like, I could just about cry. It's just like, haven't we all have enough of this? Now, speaking of that, let me just say, I'm going to do a bit of chanting in a minute. I'm going to do a bit of sacred ceremony in a minute. But before that, let me just say, I actually truly think that there's a slim possibility this whole nightmare will be over by the end of the year. Now, I have to say, why do I say that? Okay, let me say number one, why I say that. It's called wishful thinking, okay? There's a lot of wishful thinking going on here. But that said, the coronavirus situation earlier this year kicked off basically around March, April. Agreed? And effectively it coincided with a massive and highly important and quite rare, like every couple of decades, alignment between Jupiter and Pluto. Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. Does not happen every day of the week, let me tell you. And so we had the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, which is very descriptive of COVID-19 for morbid reasons that I won't go into right now. And we had, we actually had Mercury retrograde as well. Anyway, because I remember thinking, well, it started with Mercury retrograde. Maybe when it finishes, it will finish with Mercury retrograde. Because often what starts in one Mercury retrograde will finish in the next, or will come back, or whatever. Excuse me. Anyway, then in the middle of the year, what did we have? We had in June another Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. Because what happened was Pluto and Jupiter would go forwards, then they go backwards because they retrograde, then they go forwards again. So we actually get what they call 3 passes, okay? So we had the first pass, I think in April it was, or May, April I think. And then we had the one in June. And in June, if you were watching all my Facebook Lives over the summer this time, you would have seen me saying that basically I'd been hoping this would be the end of it, but it did appear that it was going to be the second wave. And so, I mean, I can't speak for everybody everywhere in the world, but here in the UK, what happened was we all went into lockdown in March. I think we had the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, I think it was in April. Then we had the next one in June, which would have been a great time for us all to completely get out of, you know, lockdown. But in fact, what happened was we all went out of lockdown and then the numbers all started spiking again. Okay, so now we're back in lockdown, at least here in the UK. It's not a serious lockdown like before, but we're not allowed to socialise with other people. Basically, that's it. And, you know, as much as I loved it the first time around, this time around, I think I just want to go and have dinner with some friends, you know, like, and I know that sounds pathetic because there are some people who are in hospital, so I'm sorry. I don't want to put it like that, but, you know, it's just like, God, I just want normal life. Especially for the children. But anyway, c'est la vie. So, okay, so now what's to come? In November, we get the third and final Jupiter-Pluto conjunction for this cycle. So this is a really big cycle because, I mean, for those of you who are into astrology, I'll just digress a little bit into the astrology of it. You know, it's the start of a synodic cycle. Like, it's a big deal. When this happens, it's the start of a whole new cycle. And it truly could mean that we come to the end of it. Now, I'm not saying it's going to magically disappear, nor am I even saying there's going to be a virus. What I am saying is we may get to the point where we decide we just have to carry on as is. You know, maybe the virus is going to mutate down a strain and it just literally becomes, you know, like the flu, and we don't end up with people in hospital on ventilators with pneumonia, etc., etc. Anyway, I am holding that thought that November, December. So what's going to happen is, just to keep you sort of up to date, in November, so that's only 11 days from now, we're going to have, first of all, we're going to have Jupiter Pluto, which I've discussed. We also have a full moon eclipse, okay? And it's in the sign of Gemini as well, so it may well be that we all get a different change of mindset. And then in December, what's going to happen is that Jupiter and Saturn are going to change signs and move into the sign of Aquarius. Now, on the one hand, I think this is very potentially great news for a couple of reasons. First of all, Jupiter in Aquarius does sound a bit more like friends getting together and having a good time, like it does. Although Saturn in Aquarius does also sound a bit like the world under the thumb of the governments. And I wear masks, okay? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's a balance, isn't there? Let's face it. However, the thing of Jupiter and Saturn both moving into Aquarius is that it changes the landscape so much astrologically. It just changes it so much that I don't think it's out of the question that we're going to end up somehow getting away from this thing. I don't know about next year. I mean, to be honest with you, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, when I sat down, so this is the diary, my diary. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, I'm holding it up to the camera. That is my diary for next year, 2021. And I advise you to grab it now before it sells out because it's selling like hotcakes. However, that aside, when I sat down to write this diary and I was looking at the astrology for 2021, I was like, oh my God, WTF, what is going to go on? And I was saying the other day, it was all before the coronavirus. I write these way in advance. So it was before the whole coronavirus madness had really kicked off. It was probably about October last year. And, you know, I think there might have been whispers on it. And then by the time I did the final edit, which I did the final edit in May, we were already in lockdown. So I knew, you know, literally all we did was we changed, I think, one or two of the very first sentences to refer back to what a crazy year 2020 had been, which, you know, I couldn't, let's get straight to the point. 2020 was a big year and 2021 is going to be massive too. As some of the most intense astrology we've seen for a while is coming our way. So what is happening next year? Basically, there's a lot happening next year, and not all of it is bad, but some of it is quite challenging. And I'm going to talk more and more about this as the weeks go on, but I'll just give you a little taster. Basically, we've got a whole lot of Saturn-Uranus squares next year. And to me, worst case scenario is, you know, it can be Saturn is it's government, the authorities, and squaring Uranus is like, let me out of here. So hopefully it's not going to be more blasted lockdown. Almost swore there. No, hopefully it's not going to be any more lockdown, but it does sound a bit like lockdown. But now, if this can possibly be seen as a bright side, okay, it could be the fact that Uranus, the planet of chaos, is in Taurus, which is the sign of the financial markets, okay? And basically, since Uranus moved into Taurus, honestly, it's been chaos. It's also been extremely good for anybody who wants to make money online. So if you're thinking about, you know, how do I salvage everything after this crazy, crazy year, online will work. It's very good. But it could also be, Saturn squaring Uranus could also be basically what you could call the aftermath, or if you're American, the aftermath. The aftermath of 2020 financially. And I actually wrote to someone I work with, Nina. I wrote to her today and I said to her, as a matter of urgency, let's develop a free and paid course to help people boost their finances, because you can use the moon, you can use Moonology, which is my thing. You can use Moonology to boost your finances. So that's what I want to do. I want to help people to get some cash in their accounts. And I really want to help you do that. I want to help you do that on a spiritual level, and I want to help you do that on a digital level, because Uranus in Taurus is really, really good for that. So yeah, so basically that's what's coming. So now, with all that said, I'm just going to do a tiny little bit of chanting. And then I'm going to do a card, and then I'm going to, if I've got time, I'll take a call before we go to our first break. And the number to call, we've actually got people on the line already, but the number to call is, if you're in the States, 816-251-3555. That's 816-251-3555. All right, so I'm just going to do a little bit of chanting. And I'm going to do a chakra clearing chant. I'm going to do it 3 times because, frankly, my chakras need a bit of clearing, and maybe yours do too. And we'll see what else comes up, and we might even do a little meditation. Unfortunately, I can't put meditation music on this show because of the way we broadcast it, but we'll do some chanting. So let's just light my light. Here we go. I'm going to start with some Om Namo Narayanis. Here we go. Deep breath in. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. That means I surrender to the divine. I surrender to the Divine Mother. And now we're going to do another chant. Om Salva Mangala Mangalye Shive Salvata Shadike Sharanye Triambage Gauri Narayani Namostute. And now for all the people, including me, who've been feeling a bit down in the dumps, a bit mentally challenged by this ongoing international crisis, and our hearts obviously go out to anyone who needs help at this time. I'm going to do the Jupiter chant, which is so beautiful. Here we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vamanadevaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vamanadevaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vamanadevaya Namaha. And we call in the energy of Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of optimism and adventure. So we call Jupiter in, call the Jupiter energy into our lives to cheer us up and keep us looking on the bright side, even during these crazy times. All right, I'm going to do the chakra chant. And then I'm going to draw a card for everybody who's listening, and then I'm going to take a call. Here we go. Hari Om Nam Lam Mam Vam Sim Ram Vam Yam Yam Ham Shiva Ram Swaha. All right. I was going to talk about manifesting today because I've been manifesting off the scale lately. I just had a bit of a crash today. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. Oh, here's a card. Who would like a card? Here we go. Oh, wow, isn't that what we all need? The card is the New Moon Eclipse. Expect powerful change. So let's hope that's what we're going to get, because I think we've all had enough of this right now. We all needed a break. Sure, I needed a break for sure. I really needed a break. I've been working so hard for so long. But now I think I've had enough of a break. And, you know, I mean, I guess the thing is, have we all learned not to just go straight back into life as it was before COVID? You know, I even have found since things kind of went back to normal, I started to feel a bit more stressed with things like doing this and doing that, and emails coming in from everybody, and oh my God, I've got to do all this stuff, no, la, 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 la. And I'm like, no, I am not going back to that, you know, and I hope that you will join me in not going back to that. Okay, so New Moon Eclipse, expect powerful change. If you want an affirmation that you can achieve your dreams and get the desired outcome in the situation you're asking about, then this is it. Basically, we have to manifest this together. This is a card of beginnings, and there are powerful energies at work, but be prepared. It could be quite a ride, no kidding. And events now could be even jarring and uncomfortable. However, any new directions you take will almost always lead somewhere better than where you are at the moment. Whatever is happening now is happening for a reason you'll appreciate later on. A new portal is opening up, and all you have to do is have the courage to forget about the past and move through it, okay? You're being put back on the right path. There is nothing to fear. Well, that's a good message. Never mind the past. Life evolves every single day. So there you go. All right. So let's go to the lines. If you want to call me, my number is 816-251-3555. Let's go to Lorraine, who is on line 3. Are you there, Lorraine?
Yes, good morning.
Good
from New Hampshire.
Oh, you're in New Hampshire, are you?
New Hampshire, USA.
All right.
I am.
I'm not allowed to be political on this show, and you know, I'm too cautious to be political. But isn't
we all are, so
yeah, but
know.
isn't your state like one of the most important states for the election somehow?
First in the nation, yes.
Ah, you're the first in the nation. And without wanting to get political, does your state of New Hampshire, do you usually vote, you know, one way or the other, or does it vary every time?
It varies almost all the time.
Oh, so that's why it's so important, is it? So what's that?
We are called the live free or die state.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so, all right, so then what happens, because you know what, we've decided that on election night, my son and I at least, I don't know about my husband if he wants to join us, and sadly, because of the restrictions, it will probably be just us. Well, not sadly, but it would be fun to have other friends around as well. But we've decided we're going to stay up late and watch the election in America. Like, that's what we want to see, what's going to happen. And, you know, who's going to be leading America. So is it in New Hampshire that the first votes come out?
Correct. Yes.
Right. And whoever wins New Hampshire, do they often win the whole thing, or is it not like that?
It's not like that. No. The parties will still have to win their primary states.
Right, but you guys don't predict it. It's not really like, oh, well, whatever New Hampshire votes for, that's what usually is the outcome.
That's incorrect.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, you're still important anyway. All right. So, Lorraine, I have your chart here. You are a Taurian with Gemini rising and an Aries moon. What would you like to know today?
Well, I am semi-retired and I am working as they call it a life coach. and I don't charge any money. So basically my question is this the right place for me to focus at this time? I want to serve people, so is it going to be financially supportive to me?
Well, not if you don't charge any money. Why don't you charge any money?
I'm working through that issue. I give everything away for free. Everything I've invested in, my certification. I don't know.
So how do you live? Do you have a wealthy husband or something?
No, I don't.
So
I'm unemployed right now, except for my little side gig of coaching.
So how do you make money?
I'm living off my savings right now.
No! Okay, so what we need to do is we need to ascertain the problem here of why you're not charging money. All right, well, I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but the news is it's not in your chart to give everything away. So you must stop this. You must stop this. What do you mean you don't charge people for your services? Like, how are you look, here's how to look at it, okay? This is how I look at it, because I do a mix of free and charge stuff. Like, I don't get paid to do this radio show. I don't get paid by the show. I don't get paid by the people who listen. I don't get paid at all. I do this because I absolutely love speaking to people like you, and I think it's a really good thing for me to do once a week, and I do it on Facebook as well, where people can watch there as well, and hopefully people will get help by it. But I also do charge things, like I'm holding a workshop, which I can plug right now, which is the Reclaim 2020 workshop, which if you haven't signed up for, hundreds and hundreds of people have signed up for it. And I'm sure if you just put Yasmin Boland Reclaim 2020 into Google, you'll find it. And that people pay for that. You know, and now, why do I charge? Okay, well, because at the end of the day, I can't do my work for free. You know, I pay people to do my newsletters and the art in my newsletters and upload things to my website. Gosh knows how much money I've invested in learning astrology over the years. I would have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on my training. And at the end of the day, if I don't charge, number one, how am I going to pay my rent? Okay, or my mortgage, in fact. And number two, I would, if I didn't charge, I'd just end up having to get a, inverted commas, proper job, you know, like being whatever, doing whatever. Like, I used to be a journalist and a TV producer, and I can guarantee you, if I was a journalist or a TV producer and I came home at the end of the day, the last thing I'd feel like doing is making myself look presentable and sitting down in front of a camera and doing a radio show or a Facebook Live or writing free horoscopes. So you have to pay, you have to get paid for your work, Lorraine. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to afford to do your work. So what you need to do is you need to reframe all of this. Sorry, I'm talking over the top of you, but we're actually about to go to a break. So stay on the line, Lorraine. We'll be back after the break. Or are we going now? Or let me just see. No, we've got 1 more minute. Lorraine, oh no, there we are, it's the break. Am I ranting too much? But you've got to charge what you do. Yeah, no. Sorry about that. I got confused. I always get confused. Lorraine, if you can hear me, I'll speak to you after the break. Hopefully you're not going to hang up on me because I've been ranting too much.
She's on hold right now.
Oh, good. People on Facebook, what do you think? Should Lorraine charge for her services? Lorraine, go onto Facebook and see what they say. They're all going to say, yes, you should. Got a live one there, Lorraine. Not charging for your services. Who ever heard of such a thing? I mean, it's okay if you're you've got $1 million in the bank and you don't have to charge. Sure, I know someone who does that. I know someone who's really wealthy, and she basically doesn't charge for what she does. I won't say who it is because it's her private business. But she doesn't need to. Like, charging people $20 or $50 or whatever for a workshop is not going to make any difference to her. Like, she doesn't need the money. But if you need the money, gotta charge. Yes, everyone's saying you should charge. I'm going to have to tell her that when we come back on air. She works hard for a good day's pay, says Hayley. Haven't heard from you for ages, Hayley. How are you? Yes. You are passionate about the matter. You need matter. No money, no whatever you do. Yeah, I am passionate because, you know, it's so easy, especially when you're helping other people. You know, but I had this conversation on Facebook actually the other day. I can't even remember who I was talking to, but I remember saying, you know, where do we draw the line? Oh, you're a life coach. You shouldn't charge people because you're just helping them. Or you're an astrologer. You know, you're a spiritual person. You shouldn't help people. You're a spiritual person. It's like, come on. Like that, you extrapolate that out to what? Nurses shouldn't charge because they're helping people. Doctors shouldn't charge because they're helping people, you know. Oh, doctors shouldn't be paid. Like, why should doctors get paid? You know, they're helping people stay alive. I mean, that's just ludicrous. Ludicrous. Oh, good, Hayley. I'm good. I'm glad you're okay. Inez says it's self-respect. It is self-respect, yes, but also, and Hannah says when you don't charge, you're telling the universe you're not good enough. Yes. I don't know if Lorraine can hear all these pearls of wisdom being dropped her way. But it also comes down to practicalities. If you don't get paid, you won't be able to do it properly. You'll have to do something else, and this becomes your side hustle, and then you'll be too tired. Too tired. All right, what have we got? We've got about another minute or so. Angie Stone, I see this from women all the time, offering service for free, not men. Yeah. Yeah. She's worth it. Yes, exactly. Naomi Lopez is pregnant, everybody. Yay! Woo! I think you told me you were trying to get pregnant. That's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful.
A
Okay.
comment.
Here we go. Back to poor old Lorraine.
That's 816-251-3555.
Find out what's happening in the skies. Welcome back to Astrology with Yasmin.
Welcome back, Lorraine. Are you still there? Oh, thank you.
During this break, that I really need to put a stake in the ground and put a dollar sign to some of my classes and my service.
Yes, good. That's what we call a breakthrough. And a lot of people on Facebook, could you hear me talking in the break?
No, I couldn't. I'm on Unity Radio and my telephone.
Right. Yeah, no, I was talking, but I think you can hear it. But everybody, because I'm doing a live broadcast on Unity and on Facebook, and everybody on Facebook was saying she should charge. A couple of people said, you know, it might be worth asking you, do you not feel worthy to charge? Or do you now feel worthy to charge? Maybe you didn't before. Maybe now you thought, yeah, you know what, I am worthy.
I am worthy. It's a block, but I will get through it. I've always worked for someone else and got a paycheck, and like you said earlier, I've invested a lot of my time, my heart, and my money
Exactly.
to be of service. I have the spirit to serve, so I just need to do it.
And there's nothing wrong with working, you know, like there's nothing wrong with earning money. You know, money is basically what pays the bills. And until that great day when we suddenly decide to overthrow, you know, everything and say, right, no more money, it's all bartering now, we need money. You know, it's like if you want to go to dinner in a restaurant, even if you want to, I mean, okay, you could go and live off grid, I suppose, if you're, you know, if you've got a green thumb and you can grow your own vegetables, maybe you can do it. Most of us need money.
No,
There is.
I have mortgage.
I'm very proud of you. Well, I'll be
later on the recording and see what people had to say.
Yes.
That'll be helpful too.
Yes, well, they are all saying, yes, she should charge. Yes, go to Facebook and look up Yasmin Boland, and you'll find my live, and you'll see everybody's comments saying, yeah, Lorraine should charge. She should charge.
Well, thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure. If I can help you in any way, just email me. I'm all about helping people get their businesses going. It's a bit of a passion for me. So there you go. All right.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Lorraine. You too. So there you go. That was Lorraine. Okay. Right. Well, that raises a very interesting question, doesn't it, about money? How are you doing with money at the moment? You know, like it's a really big deal for people right now because Uranus, the planet of chaos, is in Taurus, which is basically, have you ever been to New York? Have you ever been to Wall Street? Have you ever seen they've got that bull? They've got a bull, the bull of Wall Street. It's the symbol, okay? Well, Taurus is represented by the bull. And Uranus in Taurus really is about the shake-up in the money markets that we've all seen. But it's also about people like us breaking through and realizing we deserve to be paid for what we do, because otherwise we won't be able to do it. And you know who taught me this? I always end up crediting her when I talk about this, even though I know people are a little bit mixed in their feelings about her these days. Doreen Virtue. Doreen Virtue taught me that basically if you don't charge for what you do, you won't be able to do it. And that's it, you know? That's it. That's the long and the short of it. So if you feel you have a way to help the world, now I'm not saying you should go out and, you know, sell small children or something. I'm saying if you are a healer, if you're a spiritual person, if you have something to offer the world like Reiki or meditation classes or whatever, spiritual healing, you know, the more you can charge, the more you can do it. You're not going to be able to do your Reiki practice to help people, you know, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you know, like in a proper work situation, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You can't do that if you're not getting paid. Okay, so, okay, you could, I don't know why, it always occurs to me someone who works in the post office for some reason, you know. You could go and work in the post office 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, but how much time do you think you're going to have and how much energy are you going to have left at the end of the week after all your hard work to do all your Reiki? Like maybe a bit, maybe 1 or 2 clients if you're lucky, maybe 3, you know, whereas the other way, do what you're doing, throw your whole heart into it and you can start to make some proper money. And there is nothing wrong with making money. Money is just abundance. That's why in the woo-woo world we always say abundance, because people feel more comfortable with the idea of abundance. And as long as you're generous and as long as you share the money around, there is nothing wrong with money. And people go, oh, but in the Bible it says about the money. What it says in the Bible is the love of money is the root of all evil, okay? It's not money is the root of all evil. It's being obsessed with money. You know, like, oh, it's all mine and you can't have any. That's not good. You do want to share it. You do want to share it. Share the money. Every time, that's one other thing. Seem to have gone onto a money vibe here today, but every time I'm looking around if I've got an envelope, I don't have one. Every time you get a bill that you can afford to pay, just spend that little moment and even kiss the envelope if you want to. Kiss the bill and say, I'm so grateful that I can pay you, you know? And think of money like money has to be circulated around, you know? You don't want to, if you do the tarot, I can't remember what number it is, but there's that, in the Rider-Waite tarot, there's that person who's like keeping everything to themselves. You don't want to be like that guy. You want to share the money. You know, every time you pay someone for something, just think, I'm so glad that I'm keeping the money circulating, because the money will circulate back to you if you're generous. It's weird, but true. Weird, but true. All right, let's go. I'm going to choose the person by where they are, because it's so interesting to see where everyone's calling in from. Pocatello, Idaho. Kelly on line 1. Are you there, Kelly? On line 1, or maybe she's hung. Oh, she's there. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
So you were born in Pocatello, Idaho.
Yep, in the Rocky Mountains of Idaho.
Oh, I see. And where are you now? Are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here in Idaho. It's too beautiful to leave.
Right. Have you ever lived anywhere else?
No, but I travel around quite a bit. I've been over to the UK where you're at. And
Oh, you've seen a bit of the world and you still like Pocatello. I'm going to have to look it up in a minute. Hang on.
It's just a small little teeny town, but we've got mountains and lakes and beautiful scenery, and it's nice.
Right. And what did you think of London?
It rained the whole time we were there, which was kind of to be expected. But seeing all of the monuments and all the different things was really, really neat. Seeing the Tower of London and London Bridge and all of it was really cool.
It rains less here now. When were you here?
Oh, it was a while ago. It was over 10 years ago. So,
Do you know what? I honestly think that because of global warming, it rains less here. So come back.
That's interesting.
I lived here 20 years ago. Then I went to live in Paris where I met my husband. We lived in Sydney. I was away for about 20 years altogether. And then we came back 7 years ago. And I'm telling you, it rains less in London because I'm sure it's global warming. So come back, Kelly, come back. But I also think people are either city people or country people, aren't they? And I'm kind of a city girl. You sound like you're a country girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
All right. So you're also a Leo. Sorry?
Yeah. We see the same kind of decrease with our snow too. We haven't had as much snow.
There you go. Yeah, no, there's no doubt that the weather's changing in London's favour, frankly. Okay, Kelly, you are a Leo with Taurus rising and a Scorpio moon. So what would you like to know today?
Okay, so I am coming to the end, I'm at the end of a very long cycle. I have been working through a lot of different lessons, trying to work through my own, toxic patterns and things like that have been causing the problems that I had in the cycle that I'm just now ending. And so I guess my question is, this is kind of a whole new, fresh slate for me. And I was kind of wondering, what the best steps for me to take to kind of meet, spirit in the middle to make what I want come true.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So as a Leo, you are going to have a lot of stuff happening for you in the next couple of years. You're actually at the start of a very big, important cycle. Because as of December, like I was talking about how the landscape is going to change at the end of the year, the astrology landscape, because Jupiter and Saturn are changing signs, they're moving into Aquarius. Well, that's your opposite sign. So first of all, they're going to oppose your Mars, which is actually your anger planet, but also your the planet of masculinity. So I don't know if you're looking at a new relationship with a man, but that could be interesting. What are you hoping to manifest? Give us a hint.
I would like to manifest a new relationship and maybe work towards, creating the home and, the future that I want for myself. I've got something very specific in mind for what I want. And, I think I'm ready to start making the steps towards that.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to work out how old you are.
I'm 37.
37. Okay, thank you. My maths is not my strong point. Okay, all right. So, for a start, if you want a relationship, now is a really good time for you to be reviewing your past relationships. Because you're Taurus rising, you've actually got Mercury retrograde. in your 7th house of relationships right now, which basically means it's a really good time for you to review whatever's happened for you in the past and think about where you went right and where you went wrong and what you do differently next time. If there's someone from your past that you think, you know, I need to ring them up and say sorry, or I need to ring them up and say, I'm sorry, I didn't accept your apology at the time, or you want to have some kind of closure or reconciliation, now is not the worst time in the world for you to get in touch, okay? With all that said, that's like a fleeting thing that's happening for a few weeks. What's really big is that as of the end of the year, you're going to have Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto all moving into your 10th house. So it's going to be big for your career, but it's also going to be big for you as a person because they're going to be opposing, first of all, your Mars. So as I said, it can be a time of anger issues coming up. It can also be a time of triggering male energy into your life. But it's also going to be, but then it's also going to oppose your sun. They're eventually going to oppose your sun as well. So basically, I think really right now, Kelly, a couple of things. One is it wouldn't hurt you to go and get a full-on reading with someone. I don't do them, but I can recommend people that do. It wouldn't hurt you to go and get a full-on reading because what I'd like you to have, which I can't do for you here right now because I'm broadcasting live as well as I'm talking to you, is I'd like to give you some really good, I'd like you to get some really good dates because there are going to be really dates being highlighted for you of when Jupiter and Saturn are going to oppose your Mars, and then when Jupiter's going to oppose your Sun, and then Saturn's going to oppose your Sun, and then eventually Pluto's going to come into the picture as well. So I think it would be a great time for you to get a full reading with someone, and as I said, I can recommend someone if you don't have anyone. I also think it might be a really good time for you to be getting your ducks in a row when it comes to your career. What's happening with your career right now?
Yes, so it's kind of in flux, like a transition. For a long time, did like a lot of artistry work. I do, photography. I make things and, sell them to customers. I have a lot of word of mouth people who come to me that just want me to make things for them. And
you get paid, presumably.
I kind of branch off and do something different, and it's kind of come back to them, being an artist and making things and being creative and crafting things for people. So that's really been like a huge influx of my income lately. It's just extra stuff on the side doing this, my art, really.
Right. And when you say on the side, are you doing something else as well?
I do. I've got another job that, is just kind of a part-time, something to help pay the bills sort of thing. And it's just, it's just something that's not like something that I consider a career necessarily, you know what I mean?
Okay. So I would say that over the next 12 to 24 months, it's going to be kind of go big or go home on the career. I think it's time for you to really try and decide what you want to do. I don't know if you have issues about charging like Lorraine did when she called in before, but if you do, it's a really good time to be getting over any issues and charging properly for your art. Do you have a website you can tell everybody so we can all go and look at your art?
You know what? I don't have anything up right now because like I said, I kind of branched off, did my own thing with, going back into corporate stuff, and then now it's just come back up, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows which way it's going to go. In some ways, I feel like the corporate stuff might actually take over a bit because you're going to have Saturn and Jupiter in your opposite sign in your career zone. So it will be a good time to get quite sort of serious about your career. But if you are going to get serious about your career and you want that career to be art, then you do need to get yourself a website. You need to start, getting things rolling. Like you need to get a social media platform. You need to go on Instagram. You need to let people know about your art. If you want to make it pay, seems to be the theme of the day. If you want to make it pay, you have to do it professionally. You have to do it properly.
Right. So I've tried doing that before, and I just thought, I probably was my own worthiness block. But I just feel like I hit a wall, and then it was just kind of went steadily downhill until I was forced to go back into something that, had a regular paycheck.
Right. And what do you think was going on? You were not getting commissions, or you weren't charging, or you weren't charging enough, or what was happening?
sales dwindling and things like that, and then probably, like I said, it probably had a lot to do with my own energies and my own worthiness issues, but, that's something that I've been working on through this whole closure thing. So, like I said, I feel like I'm really ready to kind of take that next step. So, maybe it is time to start taking it seriously. And
yes, and you can't expect just word of mouth. You can't just expect that, because then you just end up selling to your friends and family, and that's a limited audience at the end of the day, no matter how good an artist you are. I've actually drawn you a card, and you've got the gibbous moon. You're very close to achieving your goals, okay? But what I'm going to say to you, Kelly, is that you need to step it up. You need to sort of go really kind of take responsibility for what it is you want to achieve in your career and start putting things in place, because that's, that's what's going to get you there.
It's time to start being active and taking those steps.
Yeah, exactly. You're being reminded that adjustments may yet be required before you get what you want, though you're certainly on the right track. You have to have a website or a social media page. That's the very least of what you need to have in 2020, if you want to have a business. Okay? Yeah. Keep the momentum going as you move towards your dreams is the message of the card.
Okay.
All right?
All right, yeah. And that's, it's kind of come to a point where it's like, do I do this more, or do I back off and go back into, my regular paying job? So.
Well, the thing is, you basically have to choose now, because whatever happens next year, you've got to take your career really seriously. So whether you're into a corporate job that gives you a guaranteed income, or you turn your art into a business, the universe doesn't really mind. You've got the choice to do that, but you have to get serious about your career next year, one way or another.
Okay. All right.
All right.
That's very insightful for me, so thank you.
Good. I'm glad. All right. Okay. Well, thank you for calling in, Kelly. So let me just also look, now that we're here, at what the rest of the week has to offer us energetically. In a nutshell, we are about to move into a much easier time. We had, this morning we had Mars squaring Uranus, we had Venus trining Jupiter, which is lovely. And now the next big planetary alignment coming is going to be a clash between Mercury and Uranus. Excuse me, but that doesn't actually have to be a bad thing. It can actually be a really good thing, because it means you might be able to shake your brain into something completely different. If you've been looking for the answer to a problem, look for something completely different, something that's not like the answers you've been trying out. Don't try the tried and tested, try something different. We've also got Venus trine Pluto coming. The Sun will move into Scorpio, Venus trine Saturn. I mean, basically, we are moving into happier days. Not to say everything's going to be perfect between now and the end of the year, but I think it's fair to say we're through the most difficult and challenging cycles for now. All right, for now. So, let's just hope that that's going to play out here on Earth. There's no reason why it shouldn't. I think we're through the most difficult stuff that we've had for a while. And we did have some pretty gnarly astrology in August, September, and even as recently as last week. So I've just got a couple more minutes. I'm going to take one more call, and I'm going to go to Holly on line 4. Are you there, Holly?
Yes, I am. Hello, Yasmin.
Hi, Holly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. I'm just going to do your chart. Why don't you tell me what's up?
Well, I've been going through a lot of family issues for the last couple of years. Pretty intense things. Things do seem to be calming down. Knock on wood. So I guess I just curious if I've never had my chart read actually, so.
Okay, I'm going to read it in 1 second. I'm just putting in Illinois. Are you still in Illinois?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I can see straight away, Holly, what's been happening for you. And you're out of it. You're through it. You've had some of the most intense astrology possible. I think the most intense astrology for the past 3 years, the prize for that has to go to Capricorns or people with lots of planets in Capricorn. By the way, Brad Pitt's one of them. He's got like 4 planets in Capricorn, even though he's a Sagittarius. Anyone who's been through a lot, and anyone who's a Capricorn in the last 3 or 4 years, they've been through a shed load of stuff. Second are the Cancerians, the moon children, and you are a moon child, Holly. You've actually got Venus, Mercury, the Sun, and the North Node all in the sign of Cancer, or moon child, as I like to call it. So, yeah, you've been through the mill, but guess what? It's good you've called. You are literally out the other side of it. You are literally out the other side of it. So, you know, the question is really, what have you learned? You know, so if you could say to me one thing you've learned in the last few years, quite a few years actually in your case, what have you learned? Just going to look here.
Well, I guess I've learned that things aren't always as you seem, as it seems to you, and I think that whatever is within us, that is kind of going to show up around us, and so I
as within, so without.
Take care of myself better.
Interesting.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah, so, you know, it's so good that you understand what you've learned.
I think so. I hope so.
All right, well, let me do you a card. The most important thing, especially, but for anybody, because Saturn's about to change signs, okay? Saturn has affected all of us one way or another. Saturn's affected all of us. And Saturn's about to change signs. So some of those lessons are going to get shoved up our nose, whether we like it or not, between now and when Saturn changes signs in about a month and a half. The most important thing is to work out, what have I learned? What have I learned? And how can I leave anything I don't want to take with me into the new cycle? But especially if you actually are one of the cardinal signs, so Aries, Libra, Cancerian or Capricorn, there have been a ton of lessons for you. You need to show the universe you've learned them, because the cycle is ending. Okay, so oh my goodness, Holly, you got you actually got everybody. I'm still on Facebook and everybody can see that I pulled that card, and I had no clue what it was. You've actually got the new Moon Eclipse card again. It's the Expect Powerful Change card. So Holly, there is powerful change coming for you as well. You know, you're coming to the end. You're out of the cycle. Now use what you've learned. We don't have time now because we've got 20 seconds. But when you get off the phone, just write down a sentence that starts with knowing what I know now ... and fill it in. Fill it in. Okay, so I'm going to have to leave it there. We've got 5 seconds. It was beautiful speaking to everyone, and I look forward to talking to you next week.
Great show.
Thank you, Louis. Speak to you next week.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you, you too. Bye. There we go, guys. I'm actually now going to do a reading for someone who works at Unity Online Radio, so I'll hang up. Thank you for all the messages. They were very, very interesting. I read them all as they came in. Lots of love.